Our country needs a bigger reset.
We need a great reset.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the clown show that is Keir Starmer running our country.
Let us just ask you quickly, you have to choose now between Davos or Westminster?
Davos.
Great to know he loves the United Kingdom.
Because Westminster is too constrained. And, you know, it's closed and we're not having meaning. Once you get out of Westminster, whether it's Davos or anywhere else, you actually engage with people that you can see working with in the future. Westminster is just a tribal shouting place.
Well, if you don't bloody like Westminster, then why don't you leave? Rather than run the place, bugger off.
Are you surprised that your Prime Minister didn't show up to Davos?
Yes, I think our Prime Minister should have showed up at Davos. I absolutely do. And one of the things that's been, impressed on me since I've been here is the absence of the United Kingdom. And that's why it's really important that I'm here and that our Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves is here.
Well, you know what? Maybe Rishi Sunak, although admittedly he didn't do very much, had bigger fish to fry than going and sitting at stupid conferences in Davos, where all of you sit around and discuss your same little groupthink agenda. You know, there are bigger fish to fry. And you know what? I thought it was so embarrassing, to be honest, when Keir Starmer, before he was even Prime Minister, was going around the world, going to all these conferences, pretending that he was Prime Minister. Like, how big is your ego to go round to all of these events saying, oh, talk to me, all of you diplomats and statesmen, because I am basically the Prime Minister of the UK. Hold your horses. Wait until you're Prime Minister. You're Prime Minister now, but back then you weren't. So your ego needs a little bit of a check.
As a statement of intent that should there be a change of government, and I hope there will be, the United Kingdom will play its part on the global stage in a way I think it probably hasn't in recent years.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, so that we penetrate the cabinets.
My government will serve you. Country first, party second.
Davos or Westminster?
Davos.
I don't think you're putting the country first. I think you're putting Davos first, if we judge you on what you said in the past, Keir Starmer. I mean, this is pretty worrying if you ask me. I'm quite concerned that under this new government, we are going to see ourselves getting closer and closer to international organisations, which we once sought to move away from and gain our democracy back when we voted for Brexit in 2016. We're going to get closer to the WEF. We're going to get closer to the ECHR. We're going to get closer to the EU again, even though we spent so many bloody years trying to leave the place, right? Just bear in mind, right, if you think that I'm worrying a bit too much, just bear in mind who our new Foreign Secretary is. It's David Lammy. And what did he say about Brexit and Brexiteers in the ERG? Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the clip.
By implication, you're comparing the ERG to the Nazi Party, or at least to the South African racists. Now, whatever you think about the ERG, that was an unacceptable comparison, wasn't it?
Andrew, I would say that wasn't strong enough.
Oh my
In
God.
1938, there were allies who hatched a plan for Hitler to annex part of Czechoslovakia, and Churchill said no, and he stood alone.
He did.
We must not appease. We're in a situation now, and let me just be clear, I'm an ethnic minority. We have in the ERG, in Jacobs Rees-Mogg, someone who is happy to put onto his web pages the horrible, racist AFD party, a party that's Islamophobic and on the far right of the
All of the
journalism.
buzzwords are coming out
they're
now.
happy to use the phrase grand wizard. KKK is what it evokes to me when I think of that phrase, and the Deep South. I'm sorry, but very, very seriously, of course we should not appease that. Of course we should not appease that.
Jacob Rees-Mogg has been absolutely clear that he does not endorse the AFD, and the grand wizard stuff, we don't know where that came from. It's a dangerous thing, surely, to accuse him of being close to Nazi ideology.
We do know that Boris Johnson is with Steve Bannon, who is a white supremacist. We do know that there are links between Viktor Orban, Salvini and others. I'm not backing off on this. Never will I back off on this on behalf of my constituents, and the BBC should not allow this extreme hard right fascism to flourish.
Hard right fascism. Hard right fascism. Wow, okay, that's what you're calling us. So all of you lot that voted to leave the European Union, who just wanted a bit of border control, wanted a bit of regulatory autonomy, who wanted some democracy, you're all a bunch of hard right fascists, don't forget.
Often
these are elected Conservative MPs.
I don't care how elected they were, so was the far right in Germany. They're often elected, often giving a cover for the thugs on the ground. And I'm afraid when people are experiencing rising hate and extremism in this country, we must not concede ground. We must fight it and call it out for what it is.
That is your foreign secretary. Can you believe that? Can you believe that that man is now your foreign secretary? You trust that man to stop World War III from happening? I don't. I bloody don't. You trust that man to keep us properly out of the European Union? I definitely don't, right? He thinks that we're all a bunch of hard right racists and fascists, and he thinks that the Brexiteers in the ERG are worse than the Nazis. I mean, what kind of comment is that? And he says he won't back down no matter what, never. Now, the Labour Party have told David Lammy to basically shut his mouth over recent months so that they can make him look a little bit more professional, a little bit more statesman-like before he comes into the job as he now has as Foreign Secretary. But do you think I forgot what he said before? The video's still out there, we've just seen it, and we will see it again. That man is in charge of our foreign policy. We've got Keir Starmer cozying up to the WEF. We've had David Lammy is already chatting to the EU. We've just seen the news article yesterday saying that the EU are saying that they are welcoming the UK to have closer ties with them under this new government. We're doomed, ladies and gentlemen. We are doomed. I just want to, just going back to the WEF and Keir Starmer's obsession with it, why is the WEF so bad? And I saw this Spectator article, which I think you'll find interesting, which I think sums it up pretty well. So corporatism is this ideology that's basically at the centre of the WEF. And this explains what this ideology does. So corporatism is not big on freedom. It's all about forming and then maintaining a consensus on economic and social policies. For this reason, corporatism does not cope well with dissent. Indeed, it discourages any questioning of the consensus, whether the issue is tax rates or climate change. Well. Keir Starmer says it's great when you get out of Westminster because you get to talk to people like that you really feel like you can work with. What he's basically saying there is that he goes and he talks to a load of people that all agree with him, and it's all very nice, rather than being argued with in the House of Commons and told that his policies are stupid, which they are. Everyone hates to be criticised, and that's why he loves going to the WEF, because he doesn't get any of it, and it's all groupthink, and they all think the same thing. The language of corporatism may be one of coordinated consultation, but the agenda is one of control. For what matters is the harmonisation of views, no matter how absurd the idea or how high the cost in liberty. That's right, they're coming after your freedoms so that you cannot have any dissent to their agenda. Not only does this generate groupthink, it encourages the marginalisation of those who dispute the consensus. If you have reservations about, say, open borders, don't be surprised if you are branded a xenophobe. I think that puts it very, very well. I mean, how many times? I mean, you tell me in the comments. Have you been called a racist for saying that we need to have stricter border control? Because I bet a lot of you have. I certainly have. I get told every day that I'm racist for saying that we need a bit of basic border control and we shouldn't just have the border completely open, having no idea who the hell is coming in this country. You know, I'm just fed up of organisations like the WEF, like the EU, like the ECHR. No democracy. It's all about consensus. And any of us who disagree with their consensus, we're all a bunch of, hard right, racist, fascists, worse than Nazis. as David Lammy would probably call us. I've just had enough of it, and I am very, very worried about what's going to happen under this Labour government with Keir Starmer and David Lammy running the clown show. Let me know in the comments, am I worrying too much, or are David Lammy and Keir Starmer going to cosy us up to the WEF and the EU once again? Are they going to try and put us back in the European Union? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Chloe Dobbs. This has been another video for Reasoned, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel and that you've pressed the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. We will see you tomorrow.